Hi, welcome to this week's Shoot the Shit Saturday. This is Ring, and I have here Astronaut TV7, Obsolete, and I have Valkyrie Grinder here as well.
Yeah, our first episode with all four of us finally being able to sync up our schedules and convene at the same time.
Whoop whoop.
How you doing, Val?
Fantastic.
Obs?
Did some streaming today.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm doing good.
Alright, and I hope you're well, Ring.
So.
Alright, so, as always, we're here to just shoot the shit with each other, talk about nothing, talk about everything, and just see what's come up in the week. So, who wants to get us started? What's the topic?
I do.
The girl's got something to say. Go ahead.
Always. So, recently I was able to go to the movies, and I saw John Wick 3.
Nice. How was it?
I'm gonna go see it again.
I got a confession.
I'm telling you.
I got a confession. I've never seen a single John Wick movie, and they look awesome. They look awesome. I'll admit that. I just haven't seen them. I haven't watched many movies. So
This is when you have to go watch, or you're fired.
you can't fire me.
I promote Obs.
You can't promote him.
She just did.
I did.
Shut up. You're not promote. Promote
So,
from.
on my side of things, I saw Detective Pikachu this past week with my son and my sister and her girls and Andy.
Nice.
Awesome.
And that was pretty good. Definitely. Here's what I'll say about the movie. The Pokemon look great. They absolutely do. I know there were a lot of complaints during the trailer area. When all the trailers were only thing that were out, and we were complaining about certain Pokemon. But honestly, once you just to see the movie and everything goes through, there's just like absolutely no problem. The only Pokemon that actually doesn't say the name right are the Bulbasaurs. But it's a cute little mew, like a cat noise, like mew, 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 or meow.
They don't actually say their names.
Right.
What the hell? Isn't that the whole thing about? I do remember that from the cartoon. That Bulbasaur.
Right, but they sound like little high pitched cats. The film is quite twisty. The plot changes dramatically about 3 or 4 times before the film is done. There's even a plot twist at the very end of the film, which
Well, hang on. If you're gonna talk about it, just anybody watching, if you haven't seen Detective Pikachu, and there may be potential spoilers that are upcoming, so watch that first and then come on back.
Anyways, there's definitely a twist at the end. It's a pretty hardcore twist. So definitely would recommend at least seeing it at least once. If you're not a Pokemon fan, you may not be captured by it, but if you're a Pokemon fan at all, definitely see. On that note, on the more tragically opposite side of things, Game of Thrones had finished up this week, and that was a train wreck.
I've heard this. I actually saw a chart real quick before we get into details on that. I did see a chart that the finale episode was the lowest rated episode in Game of Thrones history. But
the entire 8th season was rushed.
It went downhill.
Yeah, really. I found about 3 weeks ago, I found a post that came from 4chan, which kind of covered the entirety of the plot. Like watch this and come back here and see if this is confirmed, right? And I, of course, threw it at everybody who was a Game of Thrones fan just to, kill it for them. And that kind of died. And it was glorious because it was absolutely confirmed. Every plot point was hit. The thing is that the George R. R.R. Martin, whatever the hell his name is, he hasn't even written the current season yet. In terms of books, nothing was written.
Correct.
Oh, so they produced the season without him having even released the book for the finality of the series?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had no intake or
Input?
He didn't help with this season at all. Like, he was a part of the other seasons. This one, he was
Well, it's
just
no
like,
wonder it fucking failed.
You guys. Yeah.
Also, the Ice Team, which they built him up for 8 seasons, saying he was coming, fucking killed him 1 episode. He was just on screen for 1 episode. That was it.
Wow, kind of like Darth Maul. Yeah, I remember when...
Jon Snow killed the dragon chick, I think, which was...
Daenerys.
Yeah, that's pretty anti-climax.
Well, she turned into the Mad Queen.
Well,
anyways.
hang on. Ops, I know you watched Game of Thrones. I mean, have you seen the finale and all? Are they spoiling all this for you?
I haven't seen it yet, but it's already been spoiled for me. So.
Dude, there's no
If
point
it makes
saying
you
that
feel
'cause
better,
it's
I
all
don't
worth
even
it.
watch Game of Thrones. I just, from Facebook and everybody telling me, I'm just...
I mean, I personally don't care. I haven't seen a single episode, and I probably will not, just because I don't. I mean, it doesn't really appeal to me. But I know he watches it, so like, hey, wait a minute. But you know, Mr. Shy Guy over here.
Essentially, fans that were fans since 2011 were let down. That's it. It was a complete letdown.
Have you been a fan since
Been
2011?
going around lately.
Yeah.
No, I mean I've been following it, but I mean that's the other thing too. I've been hearing that HBO really tends to shit the bed when it comes to the final seasons of the shows that they're trying to do.
I've heard that Lost and The Sopranos and now Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's a handful of others that for HBO originals they just really crap out when it comes to wrapping up a show.
Well,
Yeah.
I will let you have that, and I will decide if I agree with you when I watch the final season of True Blood, because
Is
I
that an
have
HBO
the whole series. But that's just smut too. I mean, anyway, if you know what True Blood is, and have you seen any of the episodes?
The
no matter what
show and
season.
everything that stands for is smut. That's all it is.
I don't.
Especially
love
softcore
it.
porn.
Pretty much.
I gotta-
I don't love it because of that.
I gotta confess to you guys, and I know I've told this to Ob several times, but I don't watch much TV, so I have no idea what the hell True Blood is. True Bloods. Is that a vampire
Vampires.
thing? Okay.
It's a vampire.
Just by the name of it, I kind of got. I was thinking.
By the way,
See, that was based
Vampire
off of
Diaries made me fucking sick of anything that's vampire. Like, the only thing I watch now at this point is Blade.
Does that have the sparkly vampires?
Blade, The Lost Boys.
Last one.
Oh,
So what do you
Jesus,
think
vampire-
about Robert Patterson being the new Batman?
Rubber Patterson?
No.
Robert
Oh.
Patterson.
I don't think S is gonna get any of these references at all. But
Hey, just because I'm out of the loop doesn't mean that.
You're out of the loop.
Done. First off, before we go any further, Vampire Diaries, the main chick in the series was fucking retarded as fuck. Okay, I made my
The books
complaint
are
known
better.
about this ever since, well, way back
I
when.
started, yeah.
What the hell is
I started
vampires
watching
like?
it.
And
Why am I
every
whispering?
time she fucking gets herself into trouble, knowing her importance, and tries to sacrifice herself every other fucking episode. No kidding. And all the vampire buddies are like, well, you should do it. You should. They're gonna get you. And like, well, I'm gonna offer myself anyways, even though it means the end of the world or whatever. And just like, yeah.
He's not wrong.
What the hell is Vampire Diaries?
It's a book, and they made a fucking TV show that started following the book, but then it just went off trails like Game of Thrones.
It's fucking edgy teen vampire shit. Okay.
Sparkly vampire?
it's just another tween show.
Is it like the sparkly vampire, like Twilight? I know you.
They don't sparkle.
Well, no, Ops has this phrase, and I actually like it for it. The very, I guess what like. The fucking sexy vampire, you know, the Chad vampire.
I
It's
guess.
just edgy as fuck. Okay.
Edgy as
It's
fuck.
cringy.
It's cringy.
Something like it makes you cringe a lot, and you're just like, what
Right?
the
Why
fuck?
did you do that? You're doing like the opposite of what is logically sound. Why did you open that door where you could have went around or whatever? You know, that kind of shit.
And it's to the
Oh,
point where
that.
you're actually rooting for the bad guys to win because this
Yes.
chick is so
'Cause he
fucking
just-
stupid
You
sometimes.
just want it to be over.
The classic, like, damsel in distress doing everything possibly wrong, falling and tripping over, and then instead of trying to scramble back to her feet, she just kind of rolls
Not just
onto
her, but like all the so-called friends and allies too are idiots.
I'm gonna do this to try to save you. No, if you just listen to not doing this and actually stay put, it will work out. Why do you keep doing this?
And there's so much fucking plot armor too. Jesus fuck.
like Deus Ex Machinas, you mean? Constantly, like, something saving them at the last minute?
Or no matter what happens, the characters don't die.
What the hell?
Yeah,
Right.
the plot armor
Yeah.
is real.
Get hit by a truck and they still survive?
Like the main character's brother ended up dying, and she burns his body when she burns down the house. And then somehow, well, actually explains how he gets brought back. But it always involves someone dying and then magically coming back to life.
The fuck was that? the hell, I just hear a robot come out in the background.
No, that was my Facebook feed. But anyways,
Your Facebook? What the fuck? Tomo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
it was some dude lifting, and he was lifting weights.
The robot lifting weights? That sounds like a fucking robot of some kind.
You know what? Anyways, so other news.
Wait, before going on to other news, Val, I do want to hear a little bit more about John Wick, because I would like to see the movies. The only thing I know, because I've never seen a single one, but if I'm understanding correctly, this is like the classic ex-badass is retired, trying to live a good life, whatever, and then they kill his dog, and he goes out for revenge and starts killing everybody.
So,
So, shut up. Your name's not Val.
my name is Val right now, but the thing is that when
let me
yes,
talk.
yes,
I
yes,
saw it.
I saw it too.
Harry, it's my turn to talk. He asked.
Here.
I haven't been on in a long time. So
Who has the speaking stick? Only he was
my boomstick.
stick.
Okay, so it's just the basic like.
Is he like a cop, a soldier?
So you don't. Okay, so originally, if you've seen the first one, which basically you said you haven't, you don't mess with the man's homestead, his dog or his car, especially if his wife had died. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you that there.
They killed his
So
wife too?
his wife ends up dying from like cancer, but before she dies, she gifts him with a vehicle and a dog. So this is her last gifts to him. So of course he's gonna cherish them. Well, he's basically a hitman, and he's retired since he's settled down with the wife. Trying to have
The ultimate sin.
the love. Yeah. Well, he gets messed with, and it leads to like from his car getting stolen to them killing the dog, and he's fighting.
More specifically, the mob boss who had given him one final deed, which set him free from all that, right? The son of the mob boss decides to steal his car, and then when he does he does it bad, or like that, he kills his dog in process, and the dog is like a little female pup too, so it's a real sad scene.
It's a little beagle.
Yeah.
I like beagles.
And basically, he finds out who it was. Even John Leguizamo's in there at a certain point. Great role. And he learns who the guy is. So he reaches out to the mob boss, tells him basically like, I'm gonna kill your son, and it all rolls downhill from there.
And with all the things that he's done,
Pisses off the wrong people.
everybody knows, like, hey, don't fuck with this guy. There's a reason why he's like this.
He's
Don't
got
mess
that
with him.
reputation.
And then, and so when they all find out this is what happened, this is,
Robbing us with a pencil.
yeah, it's like, you're on your own. You're on your own.
His nickname is the Boogeyman.
So basically, he's
Oh.
going back starts out with revenge. Then the second one, it leads into a blood oath type thing, and that ends up biting him in the ass.
So
And
is
then-
it the premise? I just tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I've seen one movie trilogy that I have seen. I love the first one. Second one, I was like, third one, I liked it, but I was kind of like, man, what the hell were you guys thinking?
This is a case of where the second one built and expanded upon the first one because okay. You don't watch John Wick for the plot. You watch John Wick because you enjoy seeing him fuck everybody up.
See, the stories because all three movies play off each other. Like the third one, it starts off from the second one. Like, okay, this is what is happening now that, like, it's like one main event. It's like, okay, how do I say? It's like a
continuation.
you do one thing, yeah, and then that thing leads to this. So it's like
you see the events progress. In other words, it's not an arbitrary. It's not another episode or installment. Everything continues on from the previous events, which all lead into the next film and so on and so forth. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, what I was gonna say is it kind of like the Taken trilogy, wherein obviously the first one he has a reason for going out and killing all these bad guys and all that. They kill his daughter, they kidnap his daughter, so he's trying to get her back. And then in the second one, because of all the shit that he stirred up, they basically go out for revenge. And in the third one, it's
the first one goes right. The second movie picks up where the first one left off. Like his whole thing is still going until he finally finishes. Then that brings on another set of events, which involves another situation. Then brings about the current movie, which again is a result of the events of at the end of the second film, because he broke a rule.
So,
then we got a fourth one coming out soon too.
I heard John Wick's going to be the newest Avenger.
So what happens is like Ring said, it plays off from like the first, second, and third. And so it's one thing, like one whole event, but it has it how they created it, how they put it into play. It has you sitting at the edge of your seat. It's not like, okay, this is boring, whatever.
There's very few.
They have ways.
Yeah, I've heard that they're very good movies.
Yeah, they're very great. Like, I love those movies, and how they did the third one. There will be a fourth one. Okay, I'm not going to give you much details about that, but he has, let's just say, in my opinion, he has every right to be angry.
Well,
Reeves
I will
has
tell you
stated that as long as people want to see John Wick films, he will continue to produce John Wick films.
Cool. Well, I will say that.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that I will say that I'm trying to get caught up on some great movies that I just haven't watched because again I just haven't really watched much TV and movies and stuff. And I'm most recently in anticipation for a movie that I really want to see. And I know Obs, we've talked about it last week on last week's Shoot the Shit. I really want to see the Godzilla King of the Monsters. But obviously leading up to that, I needed to see Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island, which I had not seen. And I actually did just finish seeing that as of this past week. I just finished. So I'm thinking maybe on that in the next movies that I invest my time into would be the John Wick films. Would you recommend that, Obs?
Yes, I would.
I would highly recommend that.
John Wick is a required viewing.
You always have to put the exclamation point on thing. You can't just make a suggestion. It's always like only a Sith deals in absolute, Ring. Okay.
If you like action, explosion fightings, though, a whole weapon, the guns and stuff like that, like if you enjoy movies like that, then you will love these movies. This is an action-packed freaking movie, and yeah, if you don't see anything else, definitely see that.
And that's the crazy thing, because the first John Wick movie kind of flopped in the beginning because it just kind of got overlooked on the radar. But then after the movie release, it became a kind of a cult classic, and it got so popular that it pumped out the second one, and obviously the third one, which I haven't seen yet, but it's kind of crazy, yeah, that it just picked up like wildfire for everyone to see. And I like movies too. I've seen both 1 and 2, and they're phenomenal movies. The fighting choreography, the sequences, and they're fun to watch. You can't go wrong with them.
I have the first one on my Amazon, so when we get around to building your computer, you can watch it then.
Cool. Alright, well, let's move on. Obs, you got another topic you want to bring up? Anything you want to talk about? I got a few topics, but I'll go around the table here.
Right now, game-wise, I'm anticipating, but I'm not going to be holding my breath for the upcoming game GTFO. There was the same makers from Payday were making this game. It looked really cool. They was supposed to come out late last year, but has not came out. Now it's just like coming soon kind of thing.
It's in limbo. The Overkill's The Walking Dead creators, right?
Yes.
Well, there was that whole thing about them being caught up in that inside trading, and I think we, like you're the one that told me that one of the creators or founders of the company or something got actually arrested for that or something along those lines, right?
The whole thing just turned into a shit show. We had that game. We tried the Overkill's The Walking Dead. That was the real major disappointment, and I don't think they're ever going to really recover from that loss.
That game was just a repetitive. It just got redundant to no end. It was just the same missions over and over again. It had all the breadth of potential, but none of the life of a game that would actually enthrall and entice. So that game was, a freaking $60 disappointment. It's not often that I invest in games just because of the financial situation, and unfortunately that was one of the ones I decided to. I mean, I love Payday, and it ended up being just a major disappointment.
Also Fallout 76.
Yes, that one too. Yeah, so I was out $120 in bad games because I've been meaning to actually revisit Fallout 76. So I will say that I have been meaning to revisit because I know that there have been several updates, and I just kind of want to see if anything has improved on it. So I was kind of curious on that. Stay tuned for that. We'll see when and if we go back to the world of Fallout 76, West Virginia, and see what that has to offer, if anything different. But I will say that I am looking forward to specifically the Outer Worlds. And I just recently kind of got caught up with the trailers and all that of Cyberpunk 2077. So those are two games that I have on my radar that I definitely think that I will be wanting to get. Although I don't know if I will do the whole pre-order thing again because I'm still kind of hurting from the last time.
Meanwhile, in current games that are already out, because that's just important as new games, Empyrean has hit Alpha 10 experimental. And that includes upgrades to the attack system, new block shapes, as well as shields for ships and nor vessels and bases. They actually use shields now. Looking forward to it. What I'll probably end up doing is renting a server just because I miss playing the game, but seeing as though is where you guys are at that point.
Yeah, it's just our schedules.
So that's pretty exciting. New models for everything and stuff like that. The infantry in the game actually on the base attack now deploys troop ships, no longer just base attack drones. So, say they attack your base, they actually deploy troops, and the troops have a specific way of getting into your base. Using a special tool which goes through all the blocks, or one block away to hit your core to knock your base out.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And I know they're supposed to release it for like Alpha 8 or Alpha 9. But unfortunately, the game was just not ready for it. But with major changes though, it was very promising.
Well, that's cool. I'd definitely be up for trying it again. I mean, I was just kind of getting the hang of it, learning the building system, the construction the last time we played. But again, one of the problems that we've run into every time we try these major crafting survival games like Empyrean and like 7 Days to Die is that we would start it, we'd play, we'd progress about an hour or two, and then we wouldn't come back to the game for about a week or 2 weeks, and then we'd start all over again. We definitely need to.
Mind you, that we were doing it at a time when releases were pretty much weekly. So that's why a new starter was needed anyways.
Yeah, no, I get it, but that's just one of the problems that we were running into, is that we could never get consistent to the point that we would actually progress and level up. But I believe the latest alpha on 7 Days to Die has stabilized for a while. You said that this latest release came out for Empyrean. I know that we've been trying to schedule it for Saturday. Saturday nights we do a live stream around midnight, for the channel. Obviously now we're trying to be a lot more consistent with our content that we release. So obviously we have, our Shoot the Shit Saturday. We're trying to release at least 1 or 2 videos during the week. We've got Fallback Friday that's still, coming out on a weekly basis. And then our Saturday night live stream where all of us try to get together at least as much as possible. Obviously our awkward work schedule, since our weekends are Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that kind of makes it a little weird and awkward, but hopefully we can try to start syncing up some schedules, even if it's like late nights on a Saturday or a Friday, so we can maybe progress on those, because I did love Empyrean. It was actually an awesome game. I got a little frustrated with it at first because it kind of overwhelmed me a bit. It was like so much to take in, but I'm sure it's just one of those things you need to sit down, learn, and progress. And I of course love 7 Days to Die. I mean, the first official videos here on the channel are the base tour of my old Vault DB7, which is long gone, but I think I'd be down for picking up 7 Days and Empyrean again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, what else you guys got?
No, I'm good right now. Like I said, it's been a little busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to get too much gameplay in, but when I get some more in, I want to try and play some Days Gone very soon and let you guys know how that's going.
I want that game so much.
Hey,
I'm ready to sell my kidney to get that game.
Quick announcement. Actually, as Ring already mentioned a little earlier, I have all the components. I'm going to be upgrading my computer very soon. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But part of the components that I purchased actually came with a copy of the Division 2 and World War Z for PC. So those will be 2 new games that I'll be adding to my game library very soon.
Awesome. World War Z, I'm telling you, is great.
But you have it for PS4, right?
Game. I have it for PlayStation 4.
God damn it!
But once I get my computer fixed, or because I am going to rebuild my computer, once I get that taken care of, I will look into getting that for the PC. It's going to take time because I don't have the funds for all this stuff yet.
Hey, believe me, I know I know that world all too well. But anyway, Ring, Val, you guys got anything else? But I think that unless anybody else has anything else they wanna bring up, I think that's gonna do it for another episode of Shoot the Shit Saturday. I of course have been Espionage DB7, the one and only, and I've been joined by Obsolete 2003, Valkyrie Grinder, and Ringleader. So as we're gonna start saying here on the channel, please remember, if you like the content, if you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, and settle down.
Never settle down. Listen to me.
All of you settle down.
You're the first example of someone settling down. Okay?
All right.
Your faces.
Cue the explosion. We're out of here.